Well, hello everyone. Another live stream Wednesday. I hope everyone's doing all right. Oh man, it's already been a long week and I'm only halfway through the week, so but I hope everyone's doing good. See, we got some people from Canada here. We got Boston. We got Birmingham, Alabama. Blackpool, UK. We have New Zealand, Kenya, all around the world. Australia, Phoenix, Arizona, New Jersey, the Czech Republic, Argentina. Man, welcome everybody. Welcome people on Twitch. Welcome people on YouTube. Hopefully the stream will go smoother this week. We did have a lot of drop frames last week. I am happy to report that I did order a new computer. It's not here yet. It's supposed to be here tomorrow. So we will be, I will be replacing the machine I have right now, which is like a 10700K with a 1050. And so I'm going to like a 14700K with a 4080, or no, 4060. So Ti. But hello, and let's see, Colorado, Canada, Utah, North Carolina, Quebec, Bristol, Ireland, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Romania. Welcome, everybody. So we have a couple different things I've added. Oh, Dennis, thanks for the donation. I appreciate it. Any donations to this stream goes towards the repairs I'm working on tonight. I don't keep any of it. I actually give it to my customers, so they get a discount. So a couple different things I've added tonight. So I have, if you've done my streams before, sometimes I forget to change my camera feed. And so I've added a couple features so my mods can actually control my cameras. So we were trying to test this outside or before the stream started. I don't know if it's working. Maybe I need the stream going. So Dave, do you want to try switching cameras for me? DIY Dave's one of our mods, and we also have JFix. So right now we're on my front-facing camera, and so he could switch it to my overhead. He just triggered it, and it didn't work. So that's what I was afraid of. So I'm having an issue with my YouTube triggering. It works fine on Twitch. So if somebody's on my Twitch that's a mod, let's see, we'll do Permise on 187 is a mod on there. If you type in ! overhead on Twitch, it should toggle my screen. The whole point of this is sometimes I forget to toggle it, and if I'm not paying attention, I can have my mods kind of move my things. So yeah, the microscope command's not working either. So it looks like the Twitch one's working, I believe, if we can get somebody over there to try that out. And I'll keep working on it, trying to figure out why YouTube. I'm using StreamBot to catch these commands and trying to push them over, but I don't know why it's not working. The other thing that, oh, hey, I didn't switch the camera. So we were able to get it switched using our Twitch mod over here. And the other thing that they can change is actually change the title there. So I have it say, vote for a laptop you want me to repair first. They can actually update that title to the correct laptop I'm working on. So those are the two things. I'll keep working on trying to get the YouTube one fixed up. Dave and JFix, if you go over to Twitch, I can mod you out over there, and then you can do it over there until I get it fixed on YouTube. But anyway, let's switch back to the main camera. So the three laptops we have here are an M17R4 that the person bought it on eBay, and supposedly in the listing it said it was after a lightning strike. So this is the unknown one of those things where it's like, is it a good eBay find? I don't know, right? So the customer bought it hoping I would fix it. We'll see. The second one is a liquid spill, so it's an X17R2. Water was spilt on the keyboard. The laptop worked for a day or two and then stopped working. That could be good or bad. I hate liquid spills. It's a lot of work, so I don't know. And then the last one's the Dell XPS 9700. That's that 17-inch laptop that has the orange light of death. When you hit the power button, you have an orange light. We had one of those a couple weeks ago. It ended up just being a BIOS, but I've seen it where it's the chipset. I've seen it be the EC chip, so we can have a few different causes for that. So why are there 2 streams on YouTube? So I'm trying it out YouTube Shorts again. So it should be kicking a YouTube Shorts stream out and then a regular one. I'm just experimenting with that. I just press the button, it does it. But if it's not working right, I can turn it back off. I don't like how it notifies people. The intention of that is to make it where if people are flipping through the YouTube Shorts, they'll land on the live of this, and then they'll come over to the mainstream. So if you're on one it's a vertical one, then come over to the other one. I might as well just turn it off. I don't know if I'm having any lag or not tonight, but I don't know if it's even worth it. It's just, we got Twitch going. Everything's good on Twitch. Looks like it. Maybe a little lag over there. Oh, DIY Dave, did he come over onto our Twitch stream? But we just need to, I don't know. Just tell me to turn off the YouTube Shorts and I'll do it. It just doesn't really matter. I'm just trying it out. Anyway, let's see, what else? Oh, we went through the 3 laptops. So this is our time to vote, the starting of the stream. If you're new here, every single week, 6 o'clock Central Time, I put up laptops to vote on. I haven't looked at these. I have no idea. These are just the customer's notes. And then you vote on them, and then I work on that. So we just kind of figured out most of these are going to be motherboard repairs of some sort we have to try to fix. And we never know. It's a kind of a choose your own adventure type of situation when we're doing this stuff. Let's see. So far we have the Thunderstorm of Death is winning on YouTube, and then the Orange Light of Death and the Thunderstorm is tied on Twitch. All right, so cast your votes. I know we only have 19 Twitch viewers, so it's kind of biased on there because we have 278 on YouTube. So we will see what the outcome is there. Am I having a mic volume problem? No poll on YouTube. Okay, so if you're on my vertical stream, there's no poll there. If you're on my regular stream, the long form stream, then it should be there. So if you're maybe I should have stopped my short stream. I think that's probably distracting everybody. So if you're on a vertical format, I'm going to stop the stream. You go over to my long format. Just click on my channel and then move over there. I'm going to stop the short stream. This is just too confusing. No polls on the regular one. Really? Well, what the heck am I connected to then? Let's see. Maybe it sent it over to the wrong one then. That's an interesting thing. Let me take a look. I'm going to do some investigation. So yeah, I'm showing 116 viewers on the short stream, and then the long stream I have 200 and something. So I'm not sure why it's not showing that on there. But like I said, I'm going to stop it, and then maybe that will fix that issue. We have 220 votes, so we have a lot of votes. So I'm stopping the short stream. Y'all just come over to the longs, and then that way I think I'm done with doing this shorts experiment. Sorry about that. Okay, so shorts are done. Back to regular old long form on Twitch and YouTube. So all right, we babbled along about that enough. So we are about to wrap this up. I want you to finish casting your votes. It's 6:12 by 6:15. Well, my time, Central Time. So 3 more minutes, and then we will do that. Anybody have any questions for me before we start the stream? What was I going to tell you guys? I had a weird repair. I like to tell you about little weird repairs. So we had a weird one this week that actually took us almost 2 weeks to figure this one out. It was, my tech was working on it, and I kind of kept helping him out. So basically, we had a machine, a laptop, that the screen would dim and the whole thing would lock up, okay? So we're like, what's going on here? Is it a motherboard, operating system? So we put a different operating system in and it was fine. And then we're like, okay, so it says install. So we reinstalled the OS on his drive and it did it again. And we're like, what's going on? So we changed the screen out and everything seemed to be working fine. And then once we got it all back together, it started shorting out again and shutting off. And what it ended up being, this is crazy because we went through changing the motherboard, the screen, we changed everything out and the operating system, but it ended up being the speakers. So the moment so every time we got it working, we weren't playing any sound out of the speakers, but the moment we would play sound, the entire thing would glitch out and shut off. The speakers had like an internal short in it, so whenever they were plugged in and you would try to play sound through it, it would short out the whole machine. So it was a weird one. It took a long time to figure out. We finally figured it out, and so after many hours of labor and changing out different parts, we figured it out. So, so that was an interesting one. Let's see, we have 245 votes, 335 people in our stream right now. And Twitch, how are we doing over here on Twitch? It's about to end. So Orange Light of Death is winning on Twitch, and Thunderstorm is losing. And then we have the Thunderstorm winning on YouTube. That is interesting. That is interesting. All right, so the poll has ended. I'm going to end the poll here. So Orange Light of Death won on Twitch, and then the Thunderstorm won. So we're gonna start with the Thunderstorm, and then we'll do the Orange Light of Death second. And sorry, Twitch, there's only 22 viewers. There's 360 on the other one. So let's grab that laptop. That's the M17R4 that the person bought off of eBay, and it doesn't. It's supposed to be hit by lightning. So we need to update the title. So Prometheus 187, you can actually update our title on our stream here if you want to try it out. It's exclamation point set title, and it's space, and then whatever we're going to name it. So it would be repairing M17R4 struck by lightning. And let me grab it. And here's our laptop. So this is it. Still no go on YouTube. Yeah, I haven't messed, DIY Dave, I'm gonna have to mess with that for a little while because the StreamerBot app that's actually supposed to be catching these things, like I have it in here as a command and it says it's supposed to monitor YouTube. I don't know, it's weird. It's like, when I'm opening this chat window here, it says that YouTube is not being, well, I can see something in here. Huh. Here, try it one, actually, I'm going to try it in here. I hate slowing things down by kind of, I don't want to mess with that. So we'll work on fixing it later. We'll see if we can get this other thing to work. Mic's not working. All right. Everyone can hear me all right, though, right? I'm just going to update this title real quick. Okay. So we're good. Audio's fine. All right, so we'll move on here. So I update the title. We'll work on our commands later and try to deal with that later. But so here's the gist here. So we can come in and be like, new day, new laptop that needs to be saved. And this time we have an Alienware M17R4. This one was purchased off of eBay, and the customer says that they were told that it was struck by lightning or something like that. So let's figure out if it turns on. That's what we start with. So I'm gonna hit the power button. Nothing happens. And we'll plug in the power. Keep an eye on this power meter. We just want to figure out how much current it's drawing when we first plug it in. And that's not good. All right. So I want you to pay attention to what it just did. Did you see that? So it went to 0.01, 0.02, and then went to 0.23, and then dropped back down. And so now it's sitting at 0.02, which is where it's actually supposed to be, but it's not. I'm going to unplug it one more time. Let's just try it again. Okay. Get ready. 3, 2, 1. 0.24. No, that's bad. Don't do that. It should not do that. So that's a short. That's a short on the board somewhere. Now it's a short on like a lower power rail, not on like the one of the main power rails, but it should never, ever jump to a high or 200 milliamps, 240 milliamps, like right when you plug it in, ever. If it's going to do like pre-charge current for a battery, it will start at the 0.02 and then kind of sit there for a second, then jump up to like 0.23 for a second, and then jump up to an amp. Like that's if you're trying to negotiate with the battery and jump up. But just reading that so far, we know that we have some other issue that's probably a short, probably, I don't know. I actually don't know where it is, but I could guess. I'm going to hit the power button, so it's not pulling any current at all. Hey Dex, we're live on Twitch right now too, so you can jump over there and take a look. So I'm pressing the power button, it's not changing any current. So that means let's open up the bottom and we can just kind of take measurements and see how far the current goes. It's just a blown capacitor. I don't know if it's going to be an easy burrito. That would be a little too easy. In general, if we have a short like that where it kind of jumps up and jumps down, it's trying to turn on a power rail, and yeah, maybe it could just be a short like that, but it sounds to me like it's probably I mean, if it had a thunderstorm jolt, I don't know. Could have an actual blown up component. But because it's pulling 0.02 still, so that means that probably the EC chip is getting powered on. So we're getting our 3.3 LDO. Great intro. Yeah, I don't think it was that good of an intro. I kind of stumbled over my words. So when I do my intros for my main video, I usually do a couple takes and kind of link them together because I'm really not that good at being able to speak. I stumble over my words a lot. Ooh, this thing is dirty. This thing's dirty. So, you guys like this? This is a no-no, by the way. So you don't want your fans to get like this. And the easiest way to not let them to get like that is to blow them out once a month. Just that would just keeps it from actually building up. So inside of here, I almost guarantee that there's a whole like dryer lint sheet that's right up against the heatsink there. So I'm going to take this back thing off too. Do the smell test. Yeah, we'll do the smell test in a little bit. In a second. Should I get rid of all that dust before I sniff it? Sniff the line of this dust. Don't do a physical inspection. Don't forget the physical inspection. Don't do it. Yeah, I will. Oh wait, I always forget these screws. It's funny. Every model is a little bit different on this little back cover that slides off, and this one has screws here, and most of them don't have screws on this edge because they're actually through the bottom cover. Secret screws, I would say. You predict that you're going to call the Gooch Collector. Send in the Gooch Collector, the greatest technician that's ever lived. .8 or 1.2, yeah, those power rails could definitely be it. Because those are low enough down the chute to only pull 200 milliamps. Come on. This thing doesn't want to come off. Do some precisions too. Yeah, so I have one precision here right now. We could put that in the list if we really want it. I have a 55 something. I don't know, what is it? 5550. It's basically an XPS. I mean, those 5000 series precisions are XPSs. That's all they are. Same motherboard. I don't know what's up with this. I think it's stuck on here. Maybe it's completely melted. The lightning bolt melted plastic here. Oh, I'm gonna break this thing. Uh-oh, what happened to my title? Oh, did someone change my title? It worked. Cool. I just realized that you changed it. Okay, got it. So there was like some sort of sticky tape here. All right, we got it off. That took way too long. Okay, where are we gonna go next? Should we start with the physical inspection or the smell test? do a poll. All right, we'll just take a quick one. Just a quick nose around. Well, I can tell you, it smells like someone's house. Doesn't smell bad though, so that's good. Doesn't smell like bed bugs or something like that. Yeah, DIY Dave, yeah. I realized later that he changed it because I was like, wait, I wrote that, but I wrote it differently. And I was like, how did it change? So we know that it's working on Twitch. The title changing is working. I'm going to unplug the battery, and then I want to plug it in and measure again, and then we'll do our physical inspection. But oh my gosh. I don't think this is going to show it, but we'll see. Do you guys see that? Here, we'll do microscope instead because this is not good. It's no good. The DC jack is completely broken. So you see that? And so now you can actually see how these jacks work. So they're 3-wire system. They have a positive and negative. So the outer is going to be ground. The inner kind of prongs, not all the way in the middle, are going to be the 19 volts. And then those inner ones in the very center, those are going to be the PSID communication line. So that's the pins that communicate with the laptop to tell it what type of charger it has, so it knows how many watts it can pull from the charger. And if all of that's shattered and all the casing is taken off of there, then it could have definitely shorted the 19 volts straight to that 3.3. And it doesn't smell burnt, but I doubt a lightning strike would have blown the plastic off of this right here. So let's replace that jack real quick. I have one right here. I keep a whole, these are all my test jacks for these machines I'm always working on, so I just have them all right here. So I don't need to go hunting around or anything. I just grab one. So here's a new jack. Okay, so let's keep an eye on the power meter and see if it does anything different. Well, that was better. I like that better. Hey, welcome to the channel. First time viewer in the house. Yeah, we do this every week here. Okay, so it went to 0.12 and then went to 0.02. Still not turning on though. So that's better, but we don't know what's going on. Let's just take some quick measurements in this area. So I've worked on these so many times, and sometimes I think like you guys have worked on them with me. Ha, you have, because I've done videos on all these. But do you know how all of them work? I don't know. So I'm just going to explain it all over again like this is your first time. So here's where the charger connects to the motherboard. We can see this is my DC jack, and it looks like a little flawed right there, but it's okay. And these are the 19 volts. These are the grounds. This is the PSID pin, and the last one's not connected to anything. So if we measure right here, we should get our 19 volts, or it should be 20 volts actually. What is going on here? Okay, there we go. Bad ground. I had a bad ground plane I was hooking onto. All right, so we have 20 volts on those pins, ground there. We should have 3.3 or 3.0 on our PSID, which we do, so we don't have a short on our 3.0. And you guys, you could all see these measurements right there. You see, right on the edge of the screen. Okay, so then it's going to come out of these 19. It's going to be going into this inductor, so it goes right here. Wait a minute, which way does it go? It goes through the board, and then it's going to come to these MOSFETs first. I believe. Wait a minute. Now I'm confused. Something's going on here. Wait a minute. It is going through the other side of the board, but I thought that it actually jumped over here, but it's not. Normally I would get to my 20 volts right here. So I'm going to look on the other side of the board. I think we might have something really crazy on the other side of the board then. Because we should actually be getting our 20 volts just straight to here. And then usually these will be turned off, and that's what our problem is. But I'm not even getting anything to here. So let's pull this board out. We'll do our physical inspection because I almost guarantee we have some sort of something messed up on that board. So I will start screwing, and you guys will start asking questions, I'm sure. No closed captions on live. I'm so sorry. I'm looking into that actually. There is a plugin that can do live, like Google Translate, and then create captions that can be uploaded, or whatever it is. And I'll experiment with doing that soon. But every single week I kind of add a new feature, and this week was trying to get my mods to be able to run the cameras and stuff like that. Let's see. Yeah, I also added some automated messages in there. If they get too annoying, then I'll kind of turn them off or make them take longer or something, because every 15 minutes or 30 minutes or something like that, I have it where it drops in the Discord link to JFix's Discord. Because I don't have a Discord. I don't really have a desire to do a Discord because I don't have the time. So he has a great community over there, and so I think that that would be a great place for people to join. It's just a channel ID link, so that's not the right link. JFix, give me a better link then. The link is incorrect. Okay, so I will have to stop that. Can you PM me a new link? I just copied the link you sent me, actually, so I don't know. Maybe it's because I was logged in. It took me somewhere else. Maybe I need to not be logged in. He has two different Discord servers. One is going to be open to the public, and one's just for the YouTube fixers. Called the Gooch Collector. Yeah, we're going to blow this out in a second. I don't know if we need to do it first or we should do it second. I'm going to take this battery out. There's this ribbon cable here, and you can take out the motherboard and leave the battery in, but it does put a lot of stress on this cable, and it gets damaged very easily. And I'm having a hard time locating these cables, so just to be careful and not have to worry about damaging it, I'm going to take this battery out. Piles of laptops in the queue. I have about 50 laptops in the queue right now. That's why I'm working 12-hour days. And most of them are, I mean, we fix everything, so it's not mainly motherboard repair. But it's, I mean, laptops are just coming in every single day. These videos were worked a little bit better than I thought they would. So, all right, and the motherboard is out. Ooh, that thing is dirty. I would blame it on the dirt, not the lightning. Why would you blame it on the atmosphere? What's the name of the microscope I use? So, for anybody who has questions about any equipment I use, inside this video description, there's a link. If you're on Twitch, I don't have the link there, and I probably should figure out how to do that. But on YouTube, the video description, all my equipment's in there with links to it. So it's the Anscope. It's a trinocular, so it has, you can actually run a camera simultaneously while looking through the eyepieces, which is, you have to pay a little bit more. How's the weather in Austin? So weather in Austin's been so pleasant in the last week. So we've been averaging about 90 degrees, which is nice. 92, that's pretty good. That's nice. We did have a string of 105 days, over 100 degrees, so 105 degrees, things like that. But we didn't really have that hot of a summer. Normally we would have a few, we've had like 90 days over 100 before, Most of the time we average around 60 days over 100. And I think this year we've only had like probably 20 over 100 or something. All right, so we're gonna take a look under this heatsink. And there we go. So factory thermal paste. The reason why I know it's factory, you can kind of see the square around it. So they almost put it down like a sheet of clay is what kind of what it looks like. And you can see it on both of those. That one's been overflowing a little bit, but so that's factory. It's never been opened up. And all these pads are factory too. So all that looks fine. I mean, we're going to replace the thermal paste, and then the board looks okay too. Now you can see that there's been some heat here though. What's good about this machine is there's a lot of power stages for the CPU and GPU, and so I generally don't see that many MOSFETs on the CPU or GPU going out. That's why this is actually a pretty good model. There are some flaws other than on this model where there's like, you know, the EC chip corrupts and things like that, but that's easy to fix. So there's plenty of things that have been fixed. Did we figure out if that Discord link works? I'm going to check my... I think we might be good. Did anyone else pick up that flux from Northridge Fix to try that out? You know, last week we used it the whole night and it smelled like lotion. I used it again today for a little bit and it's just so runny. It's crazy. It's just like right as you start heating it up, it's really runny, but then right as it starts cooling down, it's like glue and gets everywhere. So I don't know. And it's hard to clean off, very hard to clean off when it cools down. But then if you heat it back up, you can clean it. You have to scrub it and stuff like that. So, yeah. So, like I said, these have a lot of VRMs, and a lot of times I don't think I've ever had to replace a VRM on the CPU on this one or GPU. Maybe once or something. Very rare on this machine. But the RAM's built on here, which sucks. But I haven't really ran into that many issues with that. So anyway, this is a pretty good board overall. Like, I think I would choose a M17R3 or M17R4 if I have to choose one of these things. So we're going to do our once over around the board, just kind of look around and see if we see anything obvious. I'll start at this corner. All right, so we have, so that's the RAM that we're talking about. There's a CPU. And this one is a SRK3Y. This is a 2021 model, so this is probably like a 10th or 11th gen. There's a USB-C port. I think that's the USB-C controller. I'm going to try to peel this stuff off of here. Okay, that way we can look around. These are all the VRAM chips. Is that something? That kind of looks burnt. That kind of looks burnt. I think we found it already. And I don't think we would have found it if I didn't take that damn thing off here. So this little cover was covering it up and went over like that. And we can't even see, sometimes I would look and you would see like a discoloration or something, but this is a copper shielding. This is the USB-C controller. So there's the Thunderbolt chip, and this is the USB-C controller. And you can see this pin's a different color. I don't know if you can see it on the camera or not. Let's see if we can get it really focused. It's like a different color. So like these are all kind of gray or opaque, and then this one's shiny like it melted, and then this, it's crunchy. Can you hear it? So yeah, there's a hole in that chip. So there's our issue. I mean, that was pretty crazy that we found it that fast. If you're new here, it's not always that fast. So we're just gonna look around though still. We wanna see if the lightning did anything else. We're assuming that this is a thunder strike. Well, it's funny because it's a thunderbolt. So did they mean thunderstorm, thunderbolt? I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but we'll keep looking around. So there's some more. That's the GPU. So these are those VRMs that we were talking about for the GPU. Very nice. This is for the VRAM, those two. This is a daughter board, and those can be replaced very easily. There's the chipset, 3.3 and 5 volt power rails, main power rail, and battery charge coil. We got another burnt chip right there. Aha! That's two burnt chips. So I mean, we definitely have some stuff going on here. So the fact that we have 2 burnt chips starts decreasing the likelihood that this machine is fixable. Okay, that's just assuming that. I mean, maybe these chips are like, we burned out and it's protected the board. I mean, I don't know. But when you see 2, it's, you know, the odds that there's more or that it sent a voltage to a chip that didn't expect it. So we're gonna have to change that chip out. But the physical inspection's already paid off. All right, so now we're back around to the PD controller. Let's flip it over and do our little once around here. So here's where the battery plugs in. This is the 3 volt and 5 volt, the back side of that. So that's the controller chip for the 3 and 5. This is the charge circuit for the battery. There's the power management chip that handles the charging of the battery and creating the main power rail. You remember how we said that we should have 20 volts right there and it was missing? So I think it actually has to go through here first. I think that's what happens actually. This controls these and it comes through here. So I think this is blown up. That's why it's not getting over to the other side. Just from my memory. I've never seen this. Well, no, maybe I've changed this chip out one time. So anyway, we'll keep looking around. But I think we're good. Remember how I said there has to be something messed up on the other side of the board? And we found it. So this is more of the RAM chips. They're on each side. There's the LCD connector. This is, I think, the Tron light for the Alienware head. And that's the Tobii eye for the eye tracking BS. Let's see. Anything else? I never know what these STMs go for, are used for. Somebody can figure that out. That'd be great. Touchpad. So this thing has 2 different touchpad connectors. Why? Because if it's in the 17-inch model, you use this one. If it's in the 15-inch model, you use that one. Same motherboard goes to the same machine, or those 2 machines. These are the Tron lights for the back. There's our EC chip. There's our power button. I think I've seen enough. I think we've seen enough. So next plan of action would be to change out those 2 chips. So I'm less concerned with the PD controller, but I still want to do them both, maybe right off the bat, instead of being like, oh, let's change one out and see if it works, right? So, we're not getting any buffering this week. Yay, I don't have any drop frames. So I'm glad that everything's going good this week on our streaming. And Twitch, is Twitch doing good? Every time I look over at Twitch, I see it like paused for a second, and I'm like, is that going good over there? But I have like a lower stream rate over at Twitch, like 3 megabit or something. Because Twitch is pretty, they don't let me stream past 720p for some reason. Awesome. Okay, so next plan of action, like I said, we're going to replace those 2 chips. I'll just grab a donor board. We know what board this is. This is the LAK741P. Says it right there. It also will say it somewhere else. I have stacks of these boards that we can use for parts, so let me grab one. And you can guys see, these are my donor boards. I try to keep them as organized as possible. And these are, let's see. So these are the K741Ps, all of these boards right here. So what I'm looking for whenever I'm going through my donor boards, they're not all donor boards. A lot of them are like, hey, whenever we buy a bunch of boards from Dell, we test everything, and then if they don't pass our test, then it gets sent over here, and I either will use them for parts or I will fix them later, maybe. So like this one says bent. It boots up, but it's bent. So it has like a little warp in it. So it's like, do I want to sell that? No. But anyway, so if I turn it into a donor board, I put marks on it. So like this one, I just mark out on the GPU, and that just means I've stolen parts off of it. So here's a board that we can use. Let's just make sure those chips are available. Where are we looking here? We do have the chip here, and then we do have the chip there. So we can use this one. It has both of the chips that we need. And I don't, looks like I only had one that was marked as donor. We could choose any of them as donors, but I usually choose one that's like catastrophically bad, like has a hole in it or something, or that I know for a fact I'm not gonna be able to fix. You love these live repairs. Well, good. I'm glad. I feel like these are a little more work, but they're fun. And I figure this is a good opportunity to actually be able to interact with all the people that are interested in this type of work I'm doing. And hopefully you can learn, and it's I like to choose your own adventure aspect of it. So I think it's kind of cool. So the first thing we need to do is we're going to remove this guy. And wait, I probably have new ones of those too, but since we have the donor, we can just move it over. There it is. Nice and pretty. Even has the purple dot on it. I don't know why CYPD chips always put a dot on it. I don't know if anybody knows that, why they do that, because sometimes it's like purple like this one is. Sometimes they're orange, white. I've seen all sorts of different things. So, but we'll remove that one, and then we'll remove this one. And Dell is really good about marking their boards. So what's great is like we have a square. It shows you exactly where the chip's going to lay, and then it has this bump up here. That's going to be our pin 1. You can see our pin 1 is marked on the chip there. So we know the orientation. We don't even have to think about it. Same with this one. We have our pin 1 dot there. We got our pin 1 dot here, and there's squares in the corner that show us how to lay it out. So we don't even have to think about it. So I can just pull those off, throw them into my pile of parts here. You can see all these parts right here. This is probably 2 weeks worth of changing out chips right here on this side. These are the chips that I've changed out, and it ends up, it's good still. So this is my good side, that's my bad side. So this is like Soren's parts box, I guess. Like, let me dig through my box of parts of brand new chips. That's this area right here. All right, enough of that. Let me take this off. So we're going to start with this one. So I'm going to put my fume extractor on. We will hit it with some flux in a second. Let me preheat the board a little bit. 450 degrees C at 60% air. Here, we'll put it on my actual hot air station there. And, you know, we have a GPU right next to it. See that? I'm not going to blow it right at the GPU. We also have this plug right here. I'm not going to blow it right at that. So what I'm going to do is I'm kind of planning on blowing it across away. And so we're just going to preheat, and then I'm going to put some flux on it afterwards. And we're going to use, what should we use tonight? I'm not using the lotion flux. I'm going to use this 559, Amtech 559, which I actually don't like that much either. But I'm preheating it there, and then we're going to hit it with some flux so it melts. And I'm trying to heat over here more, and then I'll come back onto it. I just want to get the board hot first. Yeah, I've never even actually used rosin. Dip it in rosin. So I'm just waiting for this to start moving a little bit, and then we'll lift it off of there. I can see the pin starting to get a little bit liquefied. Now, if we have a burn here, we could have it fused to the board, and it is. See how it doesn't want to move? Okay, came loose. Crisis averted. Got it off of there. All right, so now you can actually see the hole in the chip. Let's see if we can get a really good close look at that. That's pretty cray, huh? See that hole? That's cray-cray. So, I don't know if he had it plugged into a USB something that surged, but from the lightning bolt. So this is going to be off the main charger, so I mean that would make sure that makes sense that that one got hit. But I mean, I guess he could have had it plugged into the USB-C port in a dock or something, and this, I don't know. So this one's pretty, I would say, cray. Also has a couple different spots. Now this one's melted enough to maybe be fused to the board. What happens whenever they get welded to the board is whenever the metal pad and the metal on the chip itself, the metal melts. It like welds itself to it, and so it's getting hotter than the heat of the flux. So we don't want that to happen, or else we have to grind it down. There we go. Look at that. It came off very nice and pretty. And then we'll look closer at this one too. So this one, quite a little bit more damage because there's a couple spots that are damaged on it. And physical inspection found this. Now we probably, if we were under the thermal camera and we were looking at it when we plugged in the power, we probably could have identified these damaged chips, but yeah, that one looks pretty bad. All right, so we'll take our donor board. I'm not even gonna add fresh solder here because I'm crazy. I think we're okay. There's plenty of solder on both of those, and since we're taking it from a donor board that's gonna have equal solder when I pull it off, they're gonna marry together perfectly. So again, we're gonna preheat the board a little bit, and then I'm gonna add flux afterwards. So the preheating just allows the solder to get hot and then melt the flux, and then the solder will absorb that and then run really good instead of having the flux just flow away. That's interesting. The color of the microcontroller, the color dot on the microcontroller says what software is loaded on it. Well, I'm glad I'm not grabbing a new one of these. I almost bought a Cypress programmer, but then I was like, I don't really want to sit there and start programming Cypress chips. These CYPDs are Cypress chips. I normally would pull both chips and then do it, but I'm going to do one at a time because this is still kind of a little hot, and I want to get it set back down while it's hot. So we're putting it back on the board. So I want to heat this up until the pins or the solder starts getting a little bit shiny. And again, I'm blowing it away from the GPU. Right as it gets a little bit shiny, then I know that the solder has melted. And I'm going to set this down. Yep, don't you blow away. There we go. And so once I get it sitting there, perfect. Now I'm going to hit it with some flux, and then it should flow or start melting, and then you'll see it actually sit in place, and it's very satisfying. Get ready. Here we go. Get ready. There. Did you see it move on its own? And now it is in its home. See? That's where it wants to live forever and ever. So we have that one installed. Now we're going to go back to the donor board and pull the other chip, which was that guy. And there's some evidence over here that I've worked on this, or somebody has. So I think it's from pulling these chips off, so that just must be residue. And no, I don't generally clean the flux off my board if I'm stealing parts. So I'm breaking my own etiquette, but it's because I don't have to give it back to my customer. So. You worked in a Cypress Semi, huh? Yeah, I'm interested in how those Cypress chips are programmed. That's why I was like, I almost bought I actually had the programmer in my shopping cart or whatever on Mouser for a while. And then I was like, I don't know if I want to pay $280 for a programmer, or maybe it's $250 or something, when I'm not going to use it that often. So kind of held off. Because I usually just pull them off of donor boards anyway. All right, so here's the customer's board. We're just going to preheat it again, like I said, and we'll set it down, and then we'll apply our flux. Cool hand, calm piece. Well, I'm setting my palms down on the desk, so if I hold it up in the air, so now my arms are kind of floating, and you see how I'm moving? But if I set my palms down, it stays calm and doesn't move. So I'm just going to tack it there. Oh, it didn't tack. Let me try it one more time. There we go. I move away the heat, so now it's staying there on its own, and then I'm going to add some flux, and then we'll reheat it again. And then you'll see it do its little magic. There it goes. One side. There we go. And so now it's home. And that's it. So we got both of those replaced. Let's do our little cleanup. I also want to test these MOSFETs in this area because there is a chance that this MOSFETs got damaged. Here, I'm going to give you our overhead view here while I clean this. So the way I clean this, toothbrush, isopropyl alcohol, and then we're going to use these Kim pads. Well, I can't show you the box, but anyway, it's just Kim pads. And I just brush, I go back and forth. This will almost make it look like nothing happened at all. It picks up all the residue if you just keep doing that. And that's the way it should be. Like nothing happened is what I like to say. Not better than factory. Oh, sorry, it just posted that Discord link again. So is that Discord link good? Are we good with that? Or should I take it down and make it stop doing it? Okay. Incorrect. Link is incorrect. Okay, I'm just going to, give me one moment. I'm just going to stop that from doing that over and over again. And that way we can make it stop, or you can give me the better link. So I'm going to disable this trigger. So Discord is disabled. There you go. Okay, all right. What was I doing? Okay, so we got those chips replaced. And I want to measure the MOSFETs in this area just because we did have that chip explode, right? So we had this chip explode, which I believe is running those. Because this has multiple stages to protect the main motherboard. And I want to see if we have a short over here. So I'm in continuity mode first. We're just going to see if this is shorted, and it is. So this is shorted on. Now, I'm not 100% if it's been triggered, but it's saying it's shorted on, and this one's not shorted on. So let's check from there to there. I'm going to put this in diode mode now. So diode mode operates a little bit differently. So if I touch to that, okay, yeah. So this is the gate pin, and the gate pin is how I can trigger it on or off. And it's just staying triggered. So this thing is completely shorted out. So we're going to need to replace that too. It's always good to check that. Now, it wanted to prevented this from coming on, most likely, unless the power management chip detected it. But if it's shorted on, it just basically will just send the voltage straight through. So it would just go bloop, 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 like that, like it didn't skip a beat. But these, I don't know. It may or may not work. I can't remember. But that chip needs to be replaced. At least I don't know if we have a pair of them or not. We don't. There's not another one on the other side. So we'll remove that one real quick and make sure that it is bad, and then we'll continue. Yeah, we don't cast any shade for over on with Northridge, but it's a little bit. We just say that he can sell a Cadillac with mud tires. He's a good salesman. That's just we'll just leave it at that, right? I think he's good at making money. We're gonna take this off. Set it right there. We can make sure that that's not shorted still. Because remember, we were shorting all the way across, and then we were shorting across here. So that's resolved, and we can verify that this is the culprit. Ow, it's burning my finger. Everyone remember how we test these? it's the first time. So we're in diode mode. The way this works, a MOSFET's just an on-off switch, more or less, the digital on and off switch. So we have an input and an output. So we're gonna have 3 pins in, 4 pins out, or 4 pins in, 3 pins out, either way. And if I touch from here to here, this is the flow, these 3 pins, and then this is the on-off. So if I could usually trigger it one way or the other by adding voltage or putting voltage across there, and it's not working, because that one's completely shorted. Let me see if I can find another one that will work. I'm gonna grab a good one. Let me turn off this horrible noise. Okay, here's a good MOSFET. So if we measure from here to here, we see we get the forward voltage, and then we go the other way, we should get nothing. So it's off. Or is it called reverse voltage? Yeah, reverse voltage. And then if I touch here, we shouldn't get a beep or anything, but if I touch here again, now it's saying it's shorted. Because we added voltage here, we triggered the chip on by touching with my red probe onto the gate pin, and then now the chip is on all of these. And so if I measure either direction, it's going to measure shorted or on. Now if I touch my black probe to this pin, the gate pin, now it's off again. And this chip is working. This one is shorted. No matter how I touch it, every pin is shorted. The entire thing is shorted out. Doesn't matter what I do, okay? So that's the chip we took off of there. That's how we know that it's bad. Hopefully that helps. I know I've explained that in other videos, but I like to think that most people have not seen this content, and I think that it's useful for people to learn this stuff. Hopefully, right? So luckily we have L donor board, and we have more of those, so we can just grab one off of here, right? So we were going to take, which guy? Which guy are we taking? Looks like we already took the first one, so the second one, let's make sure that that second one's not shorted on our donor board. It's always good etiquette. Gate usually needs a pull-down resistor, right? That's a good point. So I'm measuring these to make sure that it's not shorted. And if we go this way with it, and that's good. So we don't have an issue on that one. So that's the one we will grab and move over. Now, do you think anybody else would have caught that? Do you think anybody else would have checked that? I.e. somebody else? No, I don't know. Remember, we're not casting shade. We're not doing anything. The link is still going to Twitch? I think it was, that link went to Twitch at the last time it went. There's just not as much chat going on over there. I did turn off that trigger, so it's not happening every once in a while, so that's done. I just started using StreamerBot. It's actually pretty powerful stuff. I think it's pretty cool. And since I'm a coder, I'm really going to be able to go to town with it. So we have this beautiful brand new chip here. Brand new. And we will install it right here. Multimeter's frozen. Thank you. Give me a second, I'll fix it. I appreciate you guys telling me that. I don't know why it does that sometimes, but... Oh, because no wait, did I close the app? No, it just disconnected. Maybe because it doesn't like measuring shorted MOSFETs. Okay, there we go. Oh, and I gotta warn you guys, I forgot, this is gonna be a shorter stream than normal. I've been doing about 3 hours, 3 to 4 hour streams. Tonight, it's only gonna be a 2 hour stream. So I got 1 hour left with you guys because I have to run, I have some stuff happening tonight. And, but I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. And I'm really sorry. And I'll make it up to you on next week's stream, and we'll do a little extra, all right? Or maybe I'll do an extra stream at some point. All these people in the UK or around the world, I feel bad for you being in the middle of the night watching me because it's the middle of the night. Like J Fix is, he's in the UK. It's like 1 in the morning right now. So it'd be cool to do a Sunday morning coffee, like kind of like Soren does. Just hang out for an hour. Okay. What else should we check? Should we check these MOSFETs over here too? I think these are all protected. These are all going to be fine, but we can do it while we're in here. You're watching in bed. That's a good place to watch. On your phone, probably. It's kind of hard to watch on your phone, but... So all this is good. These are in parallel. Those are in parallel. Blah, blah, parallel. Can't speak. This one is his own little animal. God, I can't get this thing in focus. And then I'm just going to kind of measure to the main power rail here, or the current sense. This is the LDO, so linear voltage, or low dropout power supply, so it's powers the EC chip. That's all good. All right, everything looks good here. So I think we're good to go. I think we've repaired it. Now, the question is, should we do a poll? Will it turn on poll? That's the poll we like. Has it been fixed? Question mark. Daniel, thanks for the donation. All right, so still getting my bearings on making poles here. All right. So we have a couple polls, and we got 68% of the people think I am awesome. I guess that was not the question. That was not the question. I will go ahead and generally I would, if it was just me just testing this right now, I would just put this on here and just press the power button. But I think, yeah, it could be a corrupted BIOS or EC chip, but I'm thinking that I might partially assemble this because if we see the Alienware screen, it will be even more awesome, right? So that's what I'm thinking. So I'm going to put the heatsink on, drink some coffee. We'll put the heatsink on, and then we'll test it that way. While people are voting, of course. 72%. What's Twitch thinking? Twitch thinks 75%. So you guys are on par. YouTube is saying 72. Twitch is saying 75% chance that I know what I'm doing. And I'm going to put this little guy back on here. Do you drink coffee with a straw? This is an iced coffee. It's a cold brew with honey. I drink hot coffee in the morning, and then because I'm having to do this, and I've already been at work for 11 hours, I have to have coffee. I get tired. So I'm just going to scrape off this old putty type thermal paste, and we'll put a little dab of new stuff on here. Fake it till you make it, baby. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if this actually works. My percentage is going down, by the way. 62% on Twitch think I fixed it. Come on, guys. The thing is that because there was multiple damaged chips, it does make it where it's a lower percentage chance. Because if we just had the PD controller shorted, I'd be like, yeah, we're at like, 90% or something. And then we had that second one, that probably drops it down to 60%. So I think we might be on par. Although Twitch hasn't been watching me that much, or, I got 37 viewers. I don't know how many of those people watched on my regular stream or even know or watch my regular videos. So they may not have a lot of faith in what I'm doing anyway. That's fine. That's okay. So we're going to do the line and the X method for our thermal paste. Or you could say the division symbol. It's kind of a line with dots on the other side. And we'll clean the fans later. Please subscribe, everybody. Please subscribe. Boom, 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 boom. What am I looking for? Screws. A subscriber gave me this magnetic bowl. Daryl did. I appreciate that. Oh, and I have, actually, let me show you what one of my other subscribers gave me. James, from a couple weeks ago, he sent me this. This is something to put my bourbon in, and it came with a pair of glasses. Look at that. Everyone knows how much I love my bourbon. I thought about actually putting something in here on a stream, but I don't know if I want to be drinking on stream. So, but that was pretty cool. So I actually got some Basil Hayden's I'm going to put in there. So that's that. So thank you so much for that. Yeah, I thought that was really neat. Just kind of showed up out of the blue. Good old James. Yeah, I got his laptop shipped back to him, I think earlier this week or maybe last week. Got him a motherboard replaced with all of you guys' donation, so he didn't have to pay for a motherboard. And, you know, originally the motherboard that I had a memory slot that wasn't working, and that's why I was able to get it to him really cheap. And then I got the memory slot working, so everything worked, and yeah, perfect board. You're drinking Buffalo Trace tonight. Nice. Very nice. I have a little bit of Buffalo Trace left, so I'm kind of, what I usually do is I have multiple bottles open, and when I start getting really low on one of them, I'm like, okay, I got to save that one, and I move on to the next one. I was drinking Redemption Weeded bourbon last night. That was really good. And then I just got a bottle of some Basil Hayden's malted rye that I was going to be drinking after this tonight. Putting all these screws in here, and it probably won't even turn on, right? 53% of Twitch says that I will do it, and 47% says I will not do it. And then we got 74% of YouTube thinks I will be successful. So we know where the faith lies. YouTube has faith in me. Twitch doesn't even know who I am. Although we only have 8 votes on, or 15 total votes on Twitch. Out of the YouTube votes are 228. So that was pretty cool. Sorry you're late, Ted. It's okay. What are we fixing? We have it on there. It's an Alienware M17R4 that the person bought off eBay, and they were told in the eBay listing that it was struck by lightning or a thunderstorm or something like that. We did find a couple burnt chips, and we replaced them. So one was on the PD controller, and one was the main power rail MOSFET or gate. And then we also found a MOSFET, so we found a third chip, yeah, a MOSFET that was shorted too. And also the DC jack was mangled. So I guess there was a lot of stuff going on. So I'm still using my test DC jack. I'm not using theirs. What do I think of Pendleton's Director's Reserve? I haven't had that before. Is that pretty good? I always like good suggestions. I don't like things too smoky, though. That's the problem. So, like, I don't like scotches or things like that. I'll smoke cigars occasionally, so maybe if I'm doing a cigar, then it might be okay, but I can't have anything with too much smoke. Or peat, or whatever you want to say, right? Okay, I got the motherboard installed. We got to plug in the LCD screen. Oh, I didn't. The ribbon cable for the power buttons right here. Eric, thanks for the donation. Drink coconut water. Coconut water. What in the wide world of sports? Keep it simple. Ripple and a pack of Lucky Stripes. Oh. Those fans are ugly. Yes, the fans are very, very dirty. We're going to take it apart and investigate in a second. The goal is at this point is we need to figure out if it turns on, and because we just replaced those components. And normally I would have plugged it in before I did all this work of putting it in here, but it sure would be nice to see the screen, right? Right, Twitch? Right, Twitch? You don't even know if I'm going to fix it or not. Okay, so assembled. Keep an eye on the power meter. What we're looking for is current draw. That is not that jumping up current draw, and also smoke, right? But so I got plugged in, 0.02. You see how it didn't jump up to like 100 milliamps or 200 milliamps and then drop back down? It just went to 0.02, which is the happy value. I'm going to press the power button, and nothing's happening. It's doing nothing. So, those sourpusses were correct. It did not fix it. But that's all right. We will figure it out. Bwah, bwah. That's okay. I'm okay with that. It gives us more things to look at, right? So if we take a look under the thermal camera, just to kind of take a quick gander, what do we have getting hot? We have kind of this area in the middle that's a little bit warm, but you see that bright spot right about there, about yar? What is that? I know exactly what it is, but do you know what it is? Let me see if I can get it lined up for us. So we'll put it in our multi-view here. And so if we look at it, it's actually just the LDO. So nothing to be concerned with. So this is a linear voltage regulator that powers the EC chip. This thing's turned on. When it's turned on, it's going to be warm. Now, 33 degrees C, that's not too warm. Oh, actually, let me turn the infrared camera on. Oh, let me hide this view. Sorry, I forgot I added this second camera on here. And there we go. It's supposed to have the floor view on that. But so this is the linear voltage regulator. So middle's ground. This side should be 19 volts. Is our meter working? So 19 volts. There we go, 20 volts. And this side should be our 3.3. And that's what's getting hot. So crisis averted on that. But if we look around anywhere else, it's not going to be getting hot anywhere else because we're only pulling 0.02. So it's only 20 milliamps. So it's not like we're going to get a lot of heat anywhere. Here's a power button I want to try just because I want to try it. That's kind of a dirty thing to try it with. Let me use these. I just want to see if the power button was not working on the daughter board. It's not that. Okay. So let's measure the voltage on our main power rail. Yeah, we might have an EC chip issue. So we have our voltage coming out of the jack. Hold on, let me switch camera views. You guys are going to yell at me. Okay, so now we're going to go back to our measuring that we were doing in the first place. 20 volts coming out of the DC jack. And then we're going to go to these MOSFETs, and we're still not getting any voltage there. Oh, okay. So we're still having an issue. We should be getting 20 volts right here. Back to the drawing board. So if it was the EC chip, we should be getting 20 volts here, but we won't get 20 volts here because these gate pins are being controlled by the power management chip, which communicates with the EC chip. And so if it was an EC corruption, then voltage would be on this side, but these chips would not turn on. And we're not getting that. We're not even getting it here. And those are all on the other side of the board. So I'm pulling this back out again, I know. More stuff to work on. It's part of the adventure, right? But that's why I always like to just boot it on the desk instead of like doing this whole reassembly process thing. But I'll be quicker this time because I only put 2 screws in there. You can't really do any voltage injection unless we had a short. So if we can identify a short on the board, then we can inject voltage onto that short. The thing is that when you use voltage injection, the only way to get something to get hot is when it has really low resistance. So short to ground, like a 0 ohm short to ground would have pull a lot of current if you injected voltage, but a 2 ohm to ground would not pull that much current, and so you would have to use a lot more voltage to get there. So I would take the heatsink back off, which is awesome. Poor laptop trying to save itself. Yeah, this laptop, that would be a good name of the video for this one, yeah. A laptop that tried to save itself. I guess we'll see if this thing's even repairable at this point. And hopefully I could fix this. I only got 40 minutes left because I have a hard stop in 40 minutes. So I have to just be done with this. So whatever happens in that amount of time happens. Okay, back open again. There's a secret screw. Yeah, I'm worried about the broken DC jack too, because that actually could have damaged something. And that actually may have been what blew out this chip over here. Which one was it? The chip that, when this chip blew out, I bet that was actually from the DC jack shorting. Could have been at least. So let me put my jack on here. I'm going to plug it in. We're going to measure voltage over there and see how far the voltage is going. Plugging in the power. We can actually look under the thermal camera too to just show you that we don't have any other thing going on. A lot of those are reflections. So that's why I'm tilting the board. So we don't see anything kind of staying hot. This up here is all this kind of aluminum, or I guess it's copper reflections. So there's not enough current being pulled in order for it to have anything get hot. So that's why generally it's not going to be useful to use the thermal camera at this point, and voltage injection would not be useful if we don't have any voltage here. All right, so we have 20 volts coming into that and 1.8 coming out. Let's see this gate pin. We got 20 volts and 20 volts. So this actually is an active low, I believe, to turn on. So this isn't getting pulled low. Is that correct? Right? This could be shorted across there though. Did we check that already? I think we did. So we have 20 volts. So I'm testing across there to see if that's shorted to it. It's not shorted. So I think this is where the DC jack comes in, comes out of here, goes into this, and then goes into here and comes around. And I believe that's the chip that actually controls that, but we actually soldered it properly. Yep. That's an interesting one. I'm actually kind of stumped right this second. Let's change that out just to be safe, but I believe that this is an active low. If this is getting pulled high, I don't know where it's getting pulled high from though, is the question. And normally, like if this was shorted, so sometimes you'll see the same measurement across there. Oh, hold on, resistance mode, no wait, voltage mode. So if I measure across here, I have voltage in the board. Yeah, we're getting 0 volts across there, but I don't have it plugged in. Now I'm losing my mind. So we got 0 volts across there. So that actually makes me think that we have the same voltage, 20.138, 20.138. Okay, so both pins are actually have the same voltage, identical, which is rare. So those could be tied together somehow, even though we're not measuring it tied together. I kind of want to change that out. What do you think? Thunder is awesome. That's what you think, huh? Wonder if lightning is AC or DC. That's an interesting thought. Well, AC is alternating current, so it would be going to negative and positive, negative and positive. So it would be more of a DC type of thing where it's just one straight current, voltage and current, 10,000 volts or whatever it is, 10 million volts. The other thing we could do is we can do something fun, and we can just do this. I don't have it plugged in right now. And we can just short across it like this, and we can just jump it on. Should we do that? Oh, that would be so fun. Just make it jump right across. I think Soren used to turn those around. He's like, I don't know why this doesn't work, but I'm just going to flip this around. He's like, I don't know why it's not turning on, but this makes it work. And I actually learned a lot from that, because the idea is there. You know, it's like there's certain things that control certain things, but if it's not turning on, but you can just make it come on, then that's useful too. But the power management chip, that's what we should be thinking about. Did not cross my mind. Let me think about this for a second. So the power management chip definitely could have got blown out. Let me plug a battery into it. That's kind of how I check to see if the power management chip's messed up, is we can use the battery. So we're going to go under the thermal camera for this one, because we can't see if it turns on or not. So battery's plugged in. Let me make sure we have voltage on the battery connector. Battery has 0.7 volts. That ain't enough. Make it enough. Let me see if it charges the battery. So I have the battery plugged in. We want to see if it heats up. So the power management chip's heating up, or is that, no, that's the LDO heating up again right there. And it's not pulling any current to start charging. Let me get a battery that has voltage on it, because it's kind of useless if it doesn't. So let me grab one of those. Got lots of batteries here. All right, got one. This one should have some voltage on it. Let me get that plugged in. So now let's see if we have charge. 11 volts, or 10.9. So that should be enough to turn the board on. And then it should also be enough voltage for it to charge if it wants to charge it. So I have the charger plugged in again. And the charger went down to 0.01. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to try triggering it on. We have that power button we can look at right here. I'm going to press this, but let's get on the thermal camera just so we can see it heat up if it's going to turn on. You ready? Is the board heating up anywhere? I don't see it heating up. Let me just check the main power rail. See if we have voltage everywhere. So we have 10.55 here, and then we have, let me go check on the CPU and GPU. If we have it there, then I feel like it should turn on. If we don't, then we need to change out the power management chip next. So input capacitors. We got 10 volts. 10 volts there at the GPU. Yeah, we got 10.1 volts on the CPU. So to me, it seems like it should turn on. And then the 3 volt and 5 volt power rails are not up and running though. That's an issue. So let me reset this again. I'm just going to unplug the battery for a second and plug it back in. Okay. I think power management chip will probably be our next thing, just because we know that that's all in the same area. Yeah. So that will be our next thing to deal with or test with. They're quick and easy to change out. This is a ISL 9241H. And does our donor board have one on there? I doubt it, because those get stolen pretty quickly. Do not have one. But this is a job for the brand new chips. Brand new. ISL 92418H. So I have some brand new ones right here. Literal brand new ones. Are they fused? No, you know, I never see fuses. There's fuses on the LCD screen, on the camera, and different machines will have different fuses someplace, but most of the time it's just on the LCD screen. I think I've only fixed like 3 computers ever, or 3 laptops ever that had a fuse blown. I mean, it's always something catastrophic that's blew up. So I kind of think of the MOSFETs as fuses, because that's what explodes. Is there any such thing as too much thermal paste? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So, just to be clear, I'm going to flip this over, but I don't want to lose the chip I just opened. So to be clear, the only thing that thermal paste needs to be on is the die in the middle, the core, the silicon in the middle. This green area does not need to be covered in thermal paste. The heatsink does not touch that. So if you, I mean, I've opened these things up before and I've seen them completely gobbed, or like someone bought a syringe like this and you're like, okay, well, I have a whole syringe, so that's one application, and they just so, right, and cover the whole thing. You really only need like a pea size. I mean, this is a longer die here. So if I get close, you can see how much I put on there. I just put a line down the middle, and then when I put the heatsink on, it splattered it all the way across. You see how it's completely uniform all the way across? Now, if I would have covered that whole thing first with like a thick layer, and then you put the heatsink on, it's just gonna mash over and just kind of overflow everywhere. So what you're really looking for is just kind of an equal spread across there, and that's what's gonna make sure that the whole chip is covered. This one I didn't even put enough on, but you can see right there, I would have put a little bit more if I was doing it permanently. But your idea is you don't want it overflowing all over the edges. So that's what you should be thinking about. And now my desk is getting covered in this heatsink compound too, because I have it still on there. All right, got 30 minutes to go. I'm going to pull this power management chip. So for people who don't know what a power management chip is, camera. For people who don't know what the power management chip is, it is in control of these MOSFETs, the input MOSFETs, and on the other side of the board, but basically it generates the main power rail and charges the battery. That's mainly what it's for, but these things blow out a lot. They get really hot, and they also take surges and blow up. So I have a brand new one here that we will replace it with, and that should hopefully fix it up. I don't have 100% faith that this is going to fix it, because I think we might be going down the rabbit hole, because we had a thunder strike on it, lightning bolt, and we've already had 2 chips blowing up, so it could have backfed all sorts of different things and destroyed it. So we're only kind of doing what we think might be the next best thing. I'm not using the hand lotion. I have it right here just in case I need it. And you remember, this flux has bubbles in it. It comes with bubbles as a feature. It's a feature. And it smells like lotion. And I can just put it all over my hands, I guess. I can just like squeeze it in here and just kind of rub it around, you know, if I get some dry skin. I'm thinking it's really sticky, so it might be good for actually reballing stuff. Maybe. I don't know. Now I'm using the Amtech 559, which is not actually my favorite either, but we're going to just kind of rotate through a few. I'm being wary. We have a couple connectors around. So we got this one here, and I got this one here. So again, we're just kind of paying attention to how we're going to blow our air, just be strategic. So I'm kind of rotating the board, blowing the air across this way. And we'll kind of preheat the board over here to kind of bring the board up to temperature over here, and then we'll blow the air kind of direct heat on there, if that helps you. Stop using it. Yeah, I used it once today again, and I regretted it. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with it. It's just really sticky. It's hard to clean too. That's the other issue. I know he's going to give me a hard time for saying that, but it's just, I mean, I paid for it, so I can say whatever I want. So we got that off. Now you notice this one doesn't have a hole in it. It doesn't have an issue. It doesn't? No. But they never do. So I'm going to set it over here. We may end up having to, you know, it may be fine if we put this on and it doesn't fix it. Now, which way does it go again? There's pin 1, and then we find the dot, pin 1. But we can't just install it because we didn't pull this from another machine. Because this is brand new, it has no solder on the bottom, and that would mean that we don't have enough solder on our board to bond it together properly. So we have to pre-tin this. And so I'm gonna just set it here and have it stick to me. Stop it. And we'll just put some flux on there. And pre-tinning it is just the act of putting solder on all the pins. All right, so I'm gonna clean my tip. Yeah, perfume. But I'm wondering, does anyone else get that flux yet? So I've kind of want to hear other people using that flux and tell me what they think. Because you should at least do it, get it, and tell me. So I'm just kind of touching these pins on the edge, rotating. Just letting some solder suck onto all those pins. That way we have enough. And just a little bit in the middle. We don't want too much. Okay. So that should be hopefully enough. We'll see. All right, so we'll flip it back over. We got to figure out where pin 1 is. This way. There we go. So we're going to go that way with it. You have flux, I like, and you know, you're not in the market. Well, you got to experiment. NanoFix will, I'm sure he'll get it. If you watched his NanoFix got all those fluxes and he tried them out, so I'm sure he's going to get it and try it out. I hope so. If you guys haven't watched NanoFix's channel, he's awesome. So I highly recommend it. If you like what I'm doing, he's super methodical. Touch it there. So now I just tacked it in place. Now that it's tacked in place, I don't really care if it's crooked. I'm just going to hit it with some more flux, and then now we'll reheat it again, and again, it will sit where it wants to go. It will go correct. So just wait for it. Wait for it. Get ready. Get ready. Damn. Boom. Did you see it? It did it by itself. I didn't even touch it. And now it is in its home. It made it home. Did I make that look easy? It does take a lot of practice to do that. But if you just kind of think about it as, you know, you preheat the board, put some flux on it just to make sure the solder's running. Then you just tack that thing on there just temporarily. It doesn't really care. I don't really care how you tack it on there. Just tack it on there, get it where it's semi the right direction, then add flux so then it gets underneath it while it's hot. And then right as you heat it again, it's just going to go right where it wants to go. So I'm going to clean this up. Surface tension is awesome, of the solder surface tension. Now I want to clean this while it's still warm, but I don't want to clean it while it's boiling hot, so I just kind of waited a little bit before I started scrubbing it. Okay. Yeah, I don't think it's the EC chip. Remember, because we talked about how if it was the EC chip, we would be getting voltage to this point here, to this point, and then these wouldn't turn on. So we're not getting that symptom. So I'm going to not put it back together again. I'm going to just plug it in right here on the bench because I don't feel like doing all that. And let's see if we have voltage where we need it. 0.6, 0.5. So I'm going to unplug the charger and then plug it back in. Now we're getting 20 volts there and it shuts off. Now we're going to put our meter here, unplug, plug in. Let me try it one more time. Huh. It's going to OL. One more time. Huh. I can't get it to turn on all the way there. Let me flip it over and see if we have our 3 volt and our 5 volt power rails coming up momentarily. This is where we start figuring out if it's an EC chip. Because, yeah, we could have this, like, I mean, we're going down a crazy rabbit hole if we're changing out. We're on our 4th chip, and if we have to program the EC chip too, I'm earning my lobster dinner tonight. So we're measuring the 3 volt power rail. I'm going to unplug the charger, and I'm plugging it back in. 5 volt, actually. 5 volts up, and that turned off. And then we'll do this other one. 3 volt. Hold on, I'm measuring the 3 volt. Plug it back in. And the 3 volts up. Okay, so that looks promising, except that it looks like it's a bad EC chip now. Great. Yay. Hooray. We'll go thermal camera on this. I'm going to just plug in the power, and then we're going to try to press this power button. I just want to see if the board gets hot, so I'm going to press this power button right here. You guys can't see it. Let's see if we do the multi-screen. There we go. There we go. You can see we hit the power button, and you can see the thermal at the same time. Press the power button. Are we pulling any current? We're not. Great. You guys know what that means. I have 20 minutes to program the EC chip. Oh, okay. All right. Stay calm. Stay calm. Nothing to see here. All right, so we've gotten to the point where we had a PD controller that was burned up. So the PD controller is the power delivery chip that's on the USB port. That was burned up. Then we also had the input power chip, I don't even know what it's called, on the input that controls these MOSFETs. And then we also had a bad MOSFET here on the input because that was shorted on. And then we also changed the power management chip out, and now we're getting it so we're getting voltage that kind of jumps all over the board. But the machine's not coming on because I think the EC chip is either shorted and damaged, which I haven't seen that many of those, or it's just corrupted data. So I'm just going to program it. You guys seen me do this so many times now. It's like you could probably program it for me, right? But it doesn't take that long because I've done it enough. So we're going to do that. And do I need to explain what the EC chip is? I think we've talked about it too, but I'm going to explain it. So here's our EC chip. Stands for embedded controller. It's basically, it's a microcontroller running a loop of code that has a bunch of general input and output, so GPIOs, that are monitoring those. And the power button's tied to that. The keyboard's tied to that. We have the lid opening and closing. It controls the fans. There's a bunch of stuff that goes in there. So it's just a microcontroller. Well, without this being able to execute its code properly, so maybe there's it got corrupted in its firmware, then it can no longer listen to power button presses like that one. So that's the gist of it. Programming this is a booger, especially on this model, because it doesn't have good programming pads. We have to, I have a kind of a cheat sheet that I use, but we put a probe here on this little guy. We put a probe here, we put a probe here, and then I believe it's here. I think so. I always get it mixed up, one of these two. I think it might be that one. We put it there, and then we have a special programmer that we're just going to write the code to it. I already have the EC firmware, so we can write that on there. So let me get that set up. Talk so much yourself while I get this set up, and we will continue. Twitch, hopefully you're enjoying this because it's about to get fun. We've already done so much of this stuff. And if this is the first time, make sure to subscribe, follow, do all that stuff. So let me grab that programmer. Oh, and the shirt that I'm wearing tonight, and I do have it linked in the video description, is my Soblum Probler shirt. So you're welcome to pick those up. That also donates, helps the channel. And it's kind of a fun shirt to wear. Soblum Probler. And on Twitch, I don't know, can I put links in there? I guess I could. So the link's inside the video description on YouTube. I need to get better at Twitch. Every week I'm going to keep adding new things. These are my cheat sheets. So here's the one we need for this model. Let me plug this in. So these are my SharkBite probes, or PC bites. I always say SharkBite, PC bite. And then these are just little interposers I can, or standoffs that I can hold the board in place. You like the Delicious shirt? Yeah, and I actually have another shirt that's really funny. That's What's Your Dilemma? And I made it a while back, and I don't have it on our on the store right now, so I need to remake that. I have a different version that we made for our employees and stuff. What's your dilemma? And then somebody said the other night, I thought it was pretty funny, that I was delirious. Because every night I've been at work all day long for such many hours, and then I'm I start getting a little delirious. 15 minutes left. Oh, right. Okay, focus. So here's our EC programmer. I'm going to hook it to ground. I need to find a good ground. Each one of these wires I'm going to connect to one of these PC bites. PC bites, is that right? Yes. And these PC bites are weighted. And they're on these little control arms. And these are needle points. And then you just hook the wire to it, okay? And I have a link to those inside the video description too. They're very useful. I wouldn't be able to do this without having these, so. My cheat sheet says how I'm going to hook all my wires up here. So I kind of showed you what this is, the EC chip, and then these are the pads, and then I have my color coding that will tell me which one to hook where. So that's what I'm going to follow. And so we need to do, can't remember now. So it's going to be blue, purple, yellow, green. So we'll get our blue set up. Yeah, I have a hard cutoff in 15 minutes. So I need to be walking out the door because I told my wife I'd be home. So I will make sure we save another laptop. Purple. Deleted. It's been deleted. Yeah, the firmware on this EC chip has been deleted. That's a good one. Might try to find something saying for that. 14 minutes. You guys are going to count down for me, huh? I'm just hooking all these wires up, and then I will put them in place. I'll show you how we do it. 105 minutes later. It's funny though, because sometimes I'm on these streams for like 4 hours and it doesn't seem like it, even though I'd been at work for 10 hours prior to that. Okay, so I'm going to get situated here. Let's get a second camera pulled up for you. Let me do it this way. Let's see if this view works. Is that a good view? You guys like that? I know everyone likes these multi-camera views. So the first one is our purple. No, first one's our blue, wherever my blue probe went. So I need to hook my blue right here. The next one was purple. And I always end up knocking them off while I'm putting them on, so I'll go back and try to fix that. So purple's here, right? Yep. These are so small. Look at my finger. Look how tiny this is. That's why I've tried soldering wires onto these points, and it's just a pain. So doing this I found is the best way of doing it. All right, we got that one in place. Next one is yellow. And I'm just saying it out loud so I can remember. See if we can get this on the first try. And then where's my green at? Where's my green at? We're not going to be able to see that last point. It's up here somewhere. It's hard to see it. Okay, so I have them all on there, kind of. This one came off. Oh my gosh, okay. That one's there. This one I can't really see. All right, do we have them all on there? Maybe-ish. All right, let me plug in. I didn't put the DC jack on there. I need to plug the DC jack onto the board. Okay. Let me plug in the programmer. Let's see if we can get this in the first try. You've seen me do this and struggle with it. So, yeah, that would be awesome if I can get it on the first try. Let me open the programmer software up. There it is. Okay. And so we're going to use E&Es, what type of chip it is. And the actual chip number is a 9542GF. So I just select that, and then we're going to solder it. Select soldering, even though we're not soldering it, we're just kind of using the pins. All right, so I sent the programming there. So I'm just going to test connection. We're not going to have connection because I haven't powered on the board. So now I'm going to plug in the board. Get ready. The board's plugged in. Oh, I tested connection and it didn't work on the first try. I thought I was going to get it on the first try, guys. So that means I'm just going to have to poke these a little bit more just to make sure that we have good connection. Let me try again. One of those I don't really like how it's seated in there. We got it on the second try. All right, so we have communication now. We're actually connected to the EC chip. I'm going to read the contents and just back that up. And that way we can always go back to the customer's original configuration. And let me put his, give me a second while I save that. And all right, so that's just backing up. And how much time do we got? Okay, I got 9 minutes. This is kind of a do or die. This will either work or it won't work. So now I'm going to select the new BIOS, new EC firmware. And, thought I had one. Give me a second. Sorry, I'm trying to find a EC region. I thought I had one. EC RIP. I'm looking. I know I have one somewhere. Okay, I'm going to have to go deep in my whole backup stuff here. I know you guys can't see the screen, so there's nothing I can really do about that. Okay, I think we found it. Data, OEM EC region. Got it. All right, so we're flashing an OEM or EC region. The way I got that is I downloaded a recovery image from Dell's website of the BIOS and then extracted the contents, and there's a region of that that's the EC region that gets separated out. That is 160K. And you can get that same extraction tool. It's a GitHub project. It's called Dell, what's it called? Dell BIOS Extractor or something like that. I can't remember. But it's a whole package of different ones. It does it for Apple and all of them, but it's a GitHub thing. So we got that. That's flashing on there now. Okay. So, do or die, like I said. So I'm just going to unhook everything. Let me switch back to our overhead. And we'll move this out of the way. El camera. We're going to unplug this. So I'm going to tell you right now, here, we'll do a poll just because this is our final, because I have to leave in 7 minutes. And will this fix it? Question mark. And can you do a poll for me on Twitch, Hermes? I don't know if I can, if you're able to create polls, but this will be worth a try. Just do a 5-minute poll. So I have the poll going on YouTube. We're going to see if he can create one for us on Twitch. I have the power unplugged from the board. I'm going to start pulling these off. Actually, I'm going to unplug this. And I'm going to get it out of this housing. We're going to figure out if this thing's going to power on. We've got 67% so far is saying that we're going to be able to fix this. But we don't have any votes on Twitch yet, so I need to figure out if that's working. I don't want to leave Twitch out. All right, I'll create the poll on Twitch if it's not coming. Cool. Okay, poll's going actually. Yeah, so we're good. Thank you. So poll's going. We got 55% yes, and then on YouTube we got 68% yes. I'm just going to pack this up, put it away while y'all are voting, and this will be our good final here. So we replaced, what, 6 chips? 5 chips, right? Power management chip, a MOSFET controller, and the PD controller chip. And then we also reprogrammed the EC chip because we were starting to get voltage on the board. And that would be awesome. And all of your donations tonight from the stream are going straight to this customer, so it will deduct from his repair bill. I just charge a flat $249 for motherboard repairs. Doesn't matter what it is. And so it will deduct off of that immediately, because of the support from you guys. And so I'm going to, I want to just do it on the desk because then we don't have to sit there and screw everything together. So I'm going to put it on thermal camera. All right, let's just check the polls real quick. So 62% on Twitch and 68% on YouTube are still saying that we're going to get it. So this is your last chance to cast your vote because I'm about to plug it in. So there's the power meter. Plugging it in. 0.02. Perfect. All right. Drum roll. Drum roll. Let me do this view. And the power button's right there. I have no idea. I'm telling you right now. Okay, 3, 2, 1. And it's coming on! So we got current draw for a second. It turned back off. It should come back on right after that. Let's see. Is it going to come back on? Did you see it pulled 1.4 amps for a second? Well, let's turn it back off. Let's try again, one more time. It should have stayed on though. Three amps, 4 amps. Yep, that's it. I saved another laptop. So it is coming on. I guarantee it, guys, because when it does all that, we know that it's actually going through a boot up process like that. So we were successful in saving this laptop from a thunder strike or whatever it was. Had to change out 5 chips and program the EC chip. So this definitely was a lobster dinner type of fix here, right? Easy lobster dinner. Not very easy, but the complexity was the lobster dinner, I guess, instead of the easy burrito. But I hope everyone enjoyed it. Out there on Twitch, make sure to follow and subscribe and do all that stuff. Out there on YouTube, if this is your first stream, I do this every single week. 6 p.m. Central Time. It's always choose your own adventure. I never look at the laptops ahead of time. I have no idea what is wrong besides what the customer note is, right? And then I let you guys vote and tell me what to do. If you send in a laptop to me and you request to do it on live stream, this was actually requested by a customer to have it as one of the ones in the running. And so I was able to do it live for him. You can also sometimes tune in and say, hey, I have a laptop there. Can you look at it? I can go grab it and we can kind of do it randomly on the live stream. Again, I don't like looking at it ahead of time, so this is all a surprise. And so I hope that that makes it a little more entertaining for everybody else. But I do have to cut this thing short tonight because I do have some other obligations. But I will be here next week, 6 p.m. Central Time. So please join in then. Thank you. Thanks for watching.
I saved another laptop.